Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Telos Buzz right here on Telos Culture. It's me, Thomas. Hope you guys are having an absolutely amazing day today. And we've got Liam here too. Liam, how are you doing? What's up?
I am doing fantastic. It's been a great end of the week. Almost the start of the week. It's nonstop. Great end to the week. We announced a cool NFT project yesterday that we're going to get into in a bit. And speaking of NFTs, we've got Big Gooey in the house here hanging out. Great to see you, Gooey. As always.
Very nice.
How's your
Yeah,
week been,
Gooey's
Thomas?
been really busy. My week has been amazing. Gooey's week has also been, I'm sure, very great and very busy. He was on an incredible amount of Twitter Spaces earlier this week. Everything from education, NFT projects to stuff around Mission NFT, and I think he's going live today with Telon. But yeah, as you say, we'll get to all this in a bit. My week's been going pretty great. I'm also very excited about getting the Telos Scouts out there into the world. So yeah, very excited to talk about that later on. Guys, you're here on the Telos Buzz. We're going to be showing off some awesome news that happened in the Telos ecosystem this week. So stick around to hear all about everything that went on in the world of Telos. We'll also have, we're going to be joined by an amazing guest, Damien Klink from 6C-Index, an awesome project. Liam, do you want to tell us a little bit about what 6C-Index does, give people a taste of what's to come?
Yeah, I'm very excited for what 6C-Index is doing in the carbon asset space right now, and the fact that they're planning to incorporate the Telos protocol into part of their project. Damien will be the best person to explain it, and we do want to leave a lot of that for him to come on in a bit, because it's very multi-layered, but they're really doing a lot to essentially tokenize real-world carbon assets, ones that are specifically they're unique in that they are tokenizing carbon assets that are used by government regulators, like the official tokenized carbon assets, or the official carbon assets. Sorry, I'm still waking up. The official carbon assets that businesses use to, net zero, but fractionalizing them, putting them in a basket so that they become an appreciating asset, and really looks at how carbon can become a valuable asset over time and a worthwhile investment, not financial advice, of course, but with the goal of moving not just to net zero, but beyond zero. So I'm going to leave it at that. Damien will be able to explain it a lot better than I can. Gooey, as a segue, thank you for the comments on my hair. Always appreciated. But it's going to be a fun show. 6C-Index is really kind of pushing the boundaries, I think, of what it means to be an impact-driven project. We know that Telos is the ESG blockchain, and we love supporting all the ESG applications that are launching on the network. So really looking forward to that. Stick around. But before we do, make sure you subscribe below, hit the like button, and of course, vote for Telos Culture as a candidate on the Telos blockchain. Do you have
and
this?
I don't have my hammer on me, but if you got a hammer, okay. You know the drill, guys. Go. We need all your support to make sure that we can. We're aiming to be a standby BP for Telos to help secure the chain and have fun while we're doing it. That's what we're all about here. So if you like what we do, as Liam said, subscribe, like, comment. It's nice to see you guys always showing up in these streams. So yeah, keep it coming. And yeah, good times all around. Very excited to have Damien on first. Liam, you got to drink some coffee so you can wake up. And then we've got to get through some news. So let's talk about everything cool that's gone on in the Telos ecosystem this week. I've got myself a nice cup of Earl Grey tea. So, going for that smooth caffeine ride. But let's kick things off. We are going to talk about lots of exciting stuff, including the TCD Report that came out this week. Very exciting stuff. There's both a written version and a video for however you want to be, digesting your Telos Core developer news. And they've also got a Twitter now, which is super awesome. So you can go and check that out. We'll drop the link to follow them in Twitter, in the chat. But there's lots of cool stuff in this update, guys. Go and scour that thing for everything that's happening on development side of Telos. Updates from Mandel, which we're still waiting to hear from the new name of the EOSIO plus coalition.
I'm on the edge of my seat with that one.
I know it's so exciting. Yeah, I don't know if I have any guesses as to what it will be. I guess I'll find out in a bit, probably, or sometime in the future. But they've started to see one of the first updates go live on testnet, so that's exciting. There's some info on that there. There's info about Telos Station, which is going to be a future home for some streamlined Telos usage, so easy that your grandma could use it, and lots more stuff. If you guys are reading through the report, I would recommend once you finish reading that, go through and watch. I think it's maybe like the last 15 or 10 minutes of the live stream, the Telos Tech Talks, because Douglas drops some breadcrumbs about some current work in progress that he can't talk about, but he kind of gets some hints at it. I think if you check it out, follow some of the lines, you could piece together some cool stuff that's going on, something involving bridges, but that was all I was able to kind of parse out of that. So go and check it out, read the report, watch the video, and get all the updates you need on the Telos core developers.
Nice. Hey, we got Feisty here. Looks like she's reading my notes. She says Telos EVM is now in the Math Wallet. Funny coincidence, great segue. That was what we were going to talk about next. Math Wallet is a multi-chain crypto wallet that supports 3 million users across over 100 blockchains now, including, of course, the Telos EVM. They've joined the party. Great. This is great for ensuring the adoption of Telos EVM. The users can now switch to Telos EVM, create or import a wallet, transfer and deposit, and access dApps. The more that we integrate with tools that have a wide set of users across different chains, that's going to really impact the adoption of the network, because it makes it, it just exposes us to all these users from different ecosystems. And so being integrated in a wallet, that's goal is, essentially, I think, to make it as easy as possible to interface with all the protocols that are out there. That's just great news and very exciting stuff.
Oh, yeah. And especially with Telos, because I've heard from a lot of people that, once you try Telos out and you use it, it's just the speed, the almost like the instant usage and stuff, that is it's really hard to go back once you've gotten a taste. So the more people we can get into the Telos EVM, super exciting stuff. So yeah, very exciting for Math Wallet. Yeah. Speaking of math, this is kind of a segue. Quadratic stuff, that's math. We're going to be talking about something very exciting happening in the broader ecosystem. It's Pomelo applications. They're open, so you can go and fund your public goods. There's also just 1 day left to vote on our proposal from Telos Culture to help onboard Telos's public goods onto Pomelo. For those of you who don't know, Pomelo is run by EOS Nation, a BP candidate on Telos, and EOS Asia, and they use quadratic funding, which is a very cool method to fund projects in an optimal way. So they say it's cool stuff. Look into it, and they use that to support public goods for Web3. So public goods are essentially things that anyone can use, and they can be used and reused by more than just like a handful of people. So one person using it doesn't let anyone else not use it up. So in the context of blockchain and Web3, there's been lots of open source code, public media, and more that has been funded on public goods on Pomelo in the past. So we put an article this week that covers what you need to know. Go check it out and make sure to vote for our proposal. We've got just about a day left to vote for that. I believe it closes at around 9:30 UTC tomorrow. So don't wait. Go check those votes and find out more about Pomelo and quadratic funding.
And the proposal's looking pretty good. I think we're at about 80% yes, and we've reached quorum, which is awesome. I like to say it's meta public goods, because essentially Telos Works, which is a public goods funding mechanism in the Telos ecosystem, is funding Telos Culture to create media, informational stuff as a public good, to bring more projects, to get more public goods funding from Pomelo. But if you're a project building on Telos native, so if you have an EOSIO plus code base and you want some funding and you think that you might fall under the guidelines of a public good, reach out to us. We're here to help projects on Telos navigate that, and we're going to be doing some promotional, informational stuff for all of the projects. It's going to be a great party for the next 3 weeks, so get excited for that.
Get super psyched for that. Now, Liam, speak of something you're also really excited about. Why don't you go and chat a little bit about Telos Scouts?
Telos Scouts. We just finally announced that yesterday. We'll drop a link in the chat where you can read more about it. But I'm so excited to get this out there. We've been hinting at it for a while, and finally we've announced it. You know, we aren't launching it just yet. We've entered it in Mission NFT, but Telos Scouts is an interactive NFT adventure presented by your friends at Telos Culture, of course. We've entered it in Mission NFT Hackathon, and we're counting on the support of all of you guys watching and the Telos Culture family to cast their vote once the public voting opens, which is very soon. Together, we can spread knowledge and excitement of the Telos community alongside the other incredible projects in Mission NFT. Telos Scouts will reward you for completing small tasks that lead up to blockchain mastery. You'll be able to join us on special episodes of The Buzz to receive your task and spend time with other scouters. Come join in on a real Web3 jamboree. Super hyped to get that finally out to the community. It's just going to be a fun community building initiative, and there's a lot of cool stuff that we have planned around it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great time. I almost did a scout when I was a kid. I was almost a Beaver Scout. Didn't make it. Wasn't able to go to it. But, you know, this is my chance to relive all my childhood dreams and get out and explore the great outdoors of Web3. So, you know, you'll have to you could do all this like out in the forest, I guess, with a you know, go to a public park, get a good data connection and check it all out. So yeah, good times there, and very excited to have this live. Yeah, good stuff. Okay, we're gonna have a couple of stuff about NFTs, and then we will get into 6C-Index. So stick around. Some exciting news came out earlier this week that a new NFT marketplace is bringing their way over to the Telos EVM. It's called Meme MFT. And they, you know, one of their benefits is they offer a really user-friendly, efficient, and cost-friendly marketplace. They also give back power to NFT collectors in the Telos community, and they're really big on education too. So really cool stuff to see them planning to come onto the Telos EVM. They were really jazzed about Telos's no front running and the really, really fast speed of the EVM. So yeah, that's going to be great to see them. Great to see them coming on. One other thing to check out too is later on today after this show at 20 UTC, so a bit further on, there's going to be a Twitter Spaces with Telland, which is a project that's also in Mission NFT. They're doing awesome stuff with farming in South America. So go and check that out. Feisty was saying also here that you know, Telos got featured again in Yahoo Finance because of Telland. So yeah, they're doing some pretty cool stuff there. Go ahead and check that out and get on that stream later today.
Gooeys are camp counselor, Scouts, 100%. All right, we should bring in 6C-Index. Before we do that, subscribe, like the video, go vote for us, and let's bring in Damien.
Let's do it. Here we go. Damien, welcome.
How's it going?
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing wonderful. How's your week been?
Great, productive, interesting, inspired.
Thanks for taking some time to join us on this show. I'm trying to think if it's really been formally announced that you guys are going to be involved in Telos yet. I don't think you're too on the radar of the community, so it's pretty exciting to bring you on here and get you formally introduced to everyone.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited to tell you about it, and excited to be working with Telos.
Of course, we always love to see ESG projects launching on Telos. I think best place to start is what problem you guys are solving with 6C-Index. Why don't you just give us a quick overview of what the project is?
Yeah, by having the first Web3 carbon credit index, we are allowing us to use the stability and the volume that is working in parts of the carbon market, but creating an onboard for all the kind of the interesting and possible scalable solutions, and a chance at changing the narrative and the marketing behind it so that people can have a chance to invest in carbon as an appreciating asset, and without being marred in any sort of greenwashing or contributing to offset culture that they're not comfortable with.
That's very awesome. It's really, I think that's a cool part of your narrative and your mission, is the fact that you are kind of actively combating that greenwashing that happens in the space, and a lot of projects in the blockchain space, not just the broader industry as well, right? But maybe you could talk a little bit just about how the current markets, how the blockchain tech actually improves that. Like, how does that element change things?
There's actually a bunch of different facets to that. Obviously, blockchain is great at transparency and efficiencies, and those are definitely needed for just the mapping of carbon and in the supply chains, and the mapping of efficiency systems for energy generation and distributing. And so these are all kind of really obvious ways that it's being applied, that you can have a much more kind of immutable and transparent calculation. Also, what's interesting is the alternative revenue models and that are being created from blockchain, where you can create different types of underlying and different types of reserve systems that are from other commodity markets.
Oh, there we go. Now I'm muted. Okay. Wow, that's okay. So that, the efficiency in exploring those alternate revenue models. Now, I want to jump back to something you said earlier about combating greenwashing. What is some of the greenwashing that we see in the carbon credit market? When I think of that, I think of, okay, these are people that are working to fight some of the pollutants that are going up into the air by sequestering it. What more is there to that story there from the work that the research you've done?
Well, greenwashing is like an unfortunate symptom or side effect of the way the carbon markets have been designed, because we can't switch overnight. And so they're a transitional market designed to solve an issue. So you have to have them set up to help companies transition. So they're always been kind of susceptible to being misused, especially because it's a very controversial thing in the way that we map the removal and reduction of carbon, and the way that the technology's great and move this. That being said, it's a necessary. The offset markets and the systems that we have for transition are definitely necessary, and they will always be they will still be susceptible to a lot of greenwashing, but as the technologies get better, they'll get less. But projects like ours, which are niche projects, can separate themselves by that, because what we do is we buy up all of the allowances and offsets and take them out of that market completely. We remove their ability to be retired or put on anyone's books to a specific emission, so they can never be used as greenwashing. We just use smart contracts to contractually retire them, but they hold their collateral value and they become an appreciating asset like Bitcoin or other investment assets. So they just become a measurable unit of removing or reducing the carbon, and they can never be used as a company to say that they are supplementing a certain behavior. So they can't be used by polluters. It changes the way that you look at the carbon markets from a necessary punitive or punishment system, which it is now, to an investment thesis, which is a much more realistic solution if we're going to move the actual amount of money, the actual world capital that we need to actually solve the issue. So there'll be an army of niche products like ours.
That's really cool. Let me say that back to you just to make sure I got it right. And so you're taking these carbon assets that are in the traditional markets that businesses buy up to offset the carbon that normally would purchase, to offset pollution that they're doing. And then what you do is you take them and you fractionalize them and put them into almost like an ETF or like a basket and tokenize it. And so by doing that with it, investors who want to invest in carbon offsetting as an investment thesis, like you say, can do so. But now the businesses that would just be purchasing it to offset their pollution and essentially not do it just net zero with the carbon, can't do that anymore. Is that correct? I'm kind of articulated.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you're creating scarcity in the market because the interesting thing about it is it's a quantifiable solution. We know we can measure how much carbon is in the atmosphere, and we know the average cost of removing it or transitioning, and it's a price problem. You know, we just have to get the price of removing and reducing the carbon to a profitable level. Right now it's at a subsidies level, and move the amount of capital. The problem is that there's the centralized systems and the unmandated pledges aren't moving in time. So by just buying up what they're using and creating a scarcity, it'll push the price up by the basic laws of demand.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think something that stood out to me, was a good talking point from your white paper, was the two people who might kind of purchase carbon assets currently, right? There are the people who are regulated and required to, and the people who do it, because they want to actually see an improvement there. And the thing about the regulation is a lot of people think that is good enough, but in order to actually net zero, you're saying you would need the whole world to kind of get on board with the regulations and everybody to be regulated for the carbon that they're producing, correct?
If you look at history, the whole world doesn't easily get on board to ideals in time, but they do get on board to economic booms. And that's what this is really about. It's about creating an appreciating price narrative that gets everyone excited, like crypto did, or the .com era did, or real estate does, where everyone starts to do it for self-interest. And this, I think, has the potential to be the biggest of all, because it's an ethical self-interest. It's one that solves a lot of kind of, innate human questions about can we use greed for good?
Totally. No, I think that's very cool. And it really just makes me think about a lot of the narratives going on in the regenerative space in general, about just like how we can coordinate people on a global level with shared values to just move capital to where it's needed the most. So yeah, awesome project. Thomas, I'm talking a lot. You got anything on your end that you'd like to add in?
Yeah, a question I'm curious about, and we kind of talked around this a little bit. So you're talking about creating this movement of people to, instead of just like companies that are purchasing carbon credits to offset their carbon pollution and everything, you're trying to get people excited about carbon credits. Why should a crypto enthusiast? Why should they get excited about captured carbon? Why don't you tell us a little bit more about what they should be getting excited about there?
I mean, as soon as you scratch below the surface of this, there's nothing more exciting in the space, because what happens is, what we're really proposing is moving offsets to a reserve. And then when reserve reaches a certain amount of GDP, or like percentage of volumes, it becomes the value set and the underlying for all different economic systems. And if you apply that to crypto, it solves so many of the big problems, with stability and environmental impact and, an underlying meaning. And there's a profound kind of message to this, at its heart, blockchain is this incredible, way of creating digital value that's unique and measurable and trusted, right? And so we created Bitcoin, where we have a scarce protocol stored value, and now we have NFTs, where we can create value from digital unique assets. So why would we stop there? The next obvious progression in my mind, and a lot of people, once you look into this, is why don't we use that to create a digital value for regenerative behaviors, or the behaviors that can save the world? And the carbon markets are the obvious low-hanging fruit. Like I said, it's quantifiable. All of the countries and the governments and the companies have made their pledges. The existential threat is on us. It's it's the actual, people ask me why blockchain, and the real question is to save blockchain, because in the end, all of the hurdles are about what is the underlying. And if we have this amazing ability to be creative with the underlying for the first time in human history, where we can make it an abstract action, why not make it actions that can save the planet and create the value, the money of the future off of the pollution of the past? I mean, I don't think you're going to come across any more profound applications that are feasible and that are being applied. When I started this, there were 2 tokenized carbon projects. Now there's 50 within a year. People don't quite see it or understand it because the benchmarks, the standards, and the scalability sets haven't been created, but they are a lot of smart, interesting, and people like me who really feel the profound implications of this working on this.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I think it's really cool when you start to shift your mindset of just how you look at carbon, of being an actual asset, and then creating a currency around it that's tied to that. It makes it a lot less, I want to say almost like abstract compared to something just like Bitcoin, right? Where it's like, we don't know what this is even back to or what it represents, right? And for some people, that's fine. I mean, I don't mind it, but I think for people in the real world, having a currency and something that's on the blockchain that's tied to an actual asset, and something that I think the broader people in the environmental space, like, this isn't just a blockchain conversation, right? Like, people in the environmental space in general talk about the potential for carbon to become a valuable asset in the future, right? So it just makes it more, it makes blockchain and cryptocurrencies more approachable by kind of the average person, and puts a mission behind it, I think, that people can get behind as well, which is super cool to see. But where can people learn more about your project?
For us, they can come to our website, 6C-Index.com, and then all our social media on Twitter and Telegram, and read our white papers, sign up on our newsletter, get ready for our whitelist. Please reach out to us. We're looking for community members, developers, also other projects, people that want to know more about carbon credits and the way to onboard them through different projects that exist. And just, there's a lot to dig in, and just regenerative finance in general, and the carbon markets. There's so many interesting references out there. So just reach out, engage. This is where we are. We're building everything right now, and we want as much engagement and help as possible.
For sure. That's great. Well, guys, you heard him. Go click those links in the chat there. I'm going to really quickly see if I can pull up your Telegram as well here and drop that in there, because it'd be great to get the community sent there.
Yeah.
Actually, you got a link.
And Liam, while you do that, Damien, you were telling us earlier that you're launching some Twitter Spaces to talk through some stuff with your community. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you guys got planned for those?
Oh yeah, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Central Time, we're going to have a Twitter space where we will be talking to different climate activists, different people with different aligned programs and ideas. And we're also going to be talking to some, different, voices in entertainment to help kind of polish our message and learn, and just going to have a lot of fun. And yeah, we would join people we welcome everyone to join that as we develop.
That's really exciting. I think it's really cool too that you guys are bringing on, not just like climate activists, because they're doing obviously really, really important work, but you're also bringing on people to, make that communication easier to understand and more accessible, and funny too. That's like a great way to get people psyched about something.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if you're dealing with a subject, which is, quite pessimistic in a sense, and, it's about an existential threat that people don't want to deal with. Even if you're coming at it with us, which is a very ambitious solution-based idea, you have to make it palatable first of all, understandable, and then to take the edge off of it, because it's difficult. We live in a difficult time, and a lot of people don't want the stuff in their face. But you know, when you come at it with a solution and a lighthearted way, then you have a better chance of moving hearts and minds. And what this is really about, because the technology exists, the systems exist. This is an educational problem. You know, this is a problem of moving capital and public sentiment. That's it. We can solve this, and we can solve so many other issues with the same model.
That's so cool. It's great to hear your optimism, and I love people who working in the environmental sector who have that approach, right? It's not all hopeless. We can do it. We just got to get together and coordinate a little bit better across ourselves. So how do you stay optimistic before we wrap up? You know, what keeps you going, and how do you keep that attitude to every day?
Oh, I was born smiling, you know, and then, so I've always been like that. And then I was in an oxygen tent when I was a little kid, and I survived it. And so I've always just felt that I was, you know, had a purpose that was ingrained with being optimistic and embracing technology. And, you know, so I try to, I have a lot of my friends and people ask me that all the time. I wish that I was better at teaching that, because it's just something I do naturally. So I don't know.
That's great. Well, it's very refreshing, and it's really amazing what you guys are doing with 6C-Index. We're super excited that you guys are going to be coming to Telos, and for all the work that you're doing in the space. So thanks again for taking some time to join us.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you again for having me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.
Of course, guys. Make sure you follow the links, all the links in the chat there, and get connected with everything that 6C is doing. Thanks for joining us. This is a great day. Make sure that you subscribe, like those buttons, vote for us, all the fun stuff, and go follow 6C-Index after this. Yeah, thank you, Thomas, also for co-hosting. This is a blast.
Of course, this has been great. Yeah, and my climate anxiety has just dripped down just a tiny little bit after spending some time with you. So yeah, it's been great for that. And as well, also great to hear about 6C-Index and the cool stuff that you guys are building. Really great stuff.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye.
See you guys.